So today morning, I found the top 3 most searched questions when it comes to sex. If you're wondering why I was searching that, let me take this opportunity to welcome you to our new show, Allo, Ask the Sexpert, a space where we invite sexual health and wellness experts to talk about sex, pleasure, health, and so much more so that you can have better sex backed by science. I'm Artika, and today I'm joined by Sexpert Dr. Sandip, who is a medical lead with Allo Health and a leading psychiatrist and sexual wellness therapist with over 17 years of experience in India and the UK. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me here, Artika.
So like I was talking about the most searched questions about sex, do you want to take a guess at what the topmost question is?
Right. Sounds interesting. I get a lot of questions from men about how to last longer. Women ask a lot about pain during sex. Then there are a lot of questions about masturbation, penis size. Must be one of those.
Well, yeah, it's on the list for sure. So the most searched question that we're going to be talking about today is, when it comes to the penis, does size matter?
There we go.
So I think just as a starting point, that is the question. Does size matter? When it comes to the penis, can it be too big or too small?
Well, there's a huge industry out there trying to misguide men into believing that they have to have a certain size.
Right.
I'm here to disappoint a lot of people because size truly does not matter. There is an average size. There are lots of studies which have looked at sizes across the globe. So in one particular study for India, it says an erect penis is somewhere between 4 to 6 inches long. There is an entity called the micropenis. Micropenis would be less than 3 inches on erection. Right. So if a man is able to measure his penis from the base of the penis, which is where the pubic hair is, to the tip of the penis on erection, and if it is under 3 inches, we call it as micropenis. Otherwise, an average size penis could vary anywhere from 4 to 6 inches on erection.
All right. That's a new word that I've learned today. So if I just ask about that, when we talk about micropenis, what are the implications of having a micropenis?
Again, there are scientific studies which looked at men who came and said that they have a micropenis. Now, thanks to Dr. Google, people are reading, they're going to specialists. In fact, a large majority of those men also did not have a micropenis.
Oh, okay.
So if it's a true micropenis, they ought to go and see a urologist who will first confirm the diagnosis and then talk about treatment options.
Got it.
When I said in the beginning about disappointing, the industry out there talks about lotions, potions, pills, and whatnot. In fact, I was surprised to read about some weights that are sold on the internet. Men are supposed to hang them by the skin of the penis. The hope is that the penis will suddenly, become longer.
Increase.
Yes, but none of those work, sadly.
Yeah.
For micropenis, since you asked, a urologist might be able to talk about penile lengthening, which is typically done by removing a little bit of a pad of fat near the pubic area. But these are surgeries that have to be carefully thought through, discussed, and then, the doctor is the best person to advise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think recommended by a doctor is the main part that one should focus on in this case.
Yes.
Just talking about what you're saying, that a lot of times it was self-reported micropenis is what we were saying right now. I think in society, there's generally a linkage that's created between masculinity and the penis size, and also the ability to experience pleasure and the penis size. So what's the truth in that? Does penis size affect how much pleasure you have or how you experience pleasure?
Artika, there are two elements to what you asked in the question, one about masculinity and the other one on pleasure. You must have heard the expression, a man is an entity attached to a penis. So men view their masculinity on the size of the penis.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the internet has a huge role to play because what is seen on pornography is not what happens in the real world.
Yeah.
I keep telling my patients that those men are chosen for a particular reason because of the size of the penis or because of their physique. So masculinity has nothing to do with the size of the penis. The other element is pleasure. A lot of scientific studies to look at is it for the man's pleasure or the woman's pleasure, the size of the penis. And hands down, most of these studies which asked women if it mattered, if their partner had a bigger or a longer penis, the answer was a very clear no. This is not my statement, but one of my patients, a lady who said, doctor, it's not the size of the boat that matters, it's the motion of the ocean that matters. So I'll leave it to your listeners to decipher that. But when it comes to pleasure, there are several elements to it. I think I'm using a lot of phrases and idioms here, and they do matter because sex is not something that happens between the legs or between the thighs. It's something that starts between the ears, which is from the brain, the master organ. So pleasure has several components to it. There is the component which starts from the mind, the desire. There is a quiz question I ask a lot of the students that I teach. Which is the largest sex organ karke. So the largest sex organ is the skin. So a lot of that is available for the couple. So pleasure doesn't necessarily have to be genital centric, penis centric. So I can go on and on. You'll have to stop me there.
No, I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it's so important to reiterate the fact that you mentioned about masculinity and penis size. And like you said, more often than not, it's actually folks with the penis who have created this notion.
True.
So, definitely very, very important to have mentioned that. With respect to pleasure, you said so many things right now, and I have to just ask about that as well. That if size is not the only thing that matters, then what is it that matters when it comes to pleasure?
All righty. I hope in one of your future shows, you will feature the definition of sex as Allo perceives it. Sex is not equal to intercourse. Intercourse is only one part of the sexual act. The longer end of the spectrum, we in Allo call it as the outer course. So outer course would be anything that a couple would do behind closed doors without clothes. So pleasure can come from outer course. Talking about pleasure for women in specific reference to female orgasm or climax, only a third of ladies are able to experience vaginal orgasm. A large majority experience orgasm through multiple ways. And the most common among them is clitoral orgasm. Again, I'm sure something that you will feature in your future episodes. So summarizing all of that, the size of the penis truly does not matter for outer course, for female pleasure. And for men, when it comes to, let's say, fertility, again, the size of the penis or how long a man is able to last during intercourse truly does not matter, both for him and for her when it comes to getting pregnant or fertility.
Yeah, very interestingly, I actually read a study which was conducted amongst American women, which basically spoke about there being 30 different kinds of orgasms, out of which penetrative vaginal orgasm was just one.
Interesting.
So, I think that's just adding to what you just shared with us.
True.
Great. So I think that's all that I had for you. But I have to now move on to the next section, which is called Ask Your Question, where we crowdsource your questions on our website. The link is in the description. If you have any questions, please send them to us. Maybe we'll ask them the next time we have a Sexpert on. So are you ready to answer some of those questions we've got?
Bring it on.
Great. Okay. The first question is, what is the ideal penis size?
There is nothing called ideal. It's a range for an adult man on erection. It is anywhere between 4 to 6 inches.
Okay. Okay, next. My penis is not very big. How should I satisfy my wife?
So you need to stop worrying about the size of the penis. Rewind and listen back to all the discussions we've had so far. Yes.
I think the third question is also, unfortunately about a lot of worry that is associated with this topic. So it says, I feel ashamed of having sex or getting naked in front of another person because I think my penis is not the right size. What can I do?
Okay, again, if it is in the average range, I wouldn't want this person to worry about. Of course, awareness about one's own body or concerns about self-image do matter.
Yeah.
What we do tell an individual or a couple, such as this particular one, is to go in a phased manner or a staggered manner.
Right.
So perhaps they could get intimate with curtains drawn, with lights off, maybe taking only their outer clothing off, keeping their inner wear on. As they get comfortable, they can look at maybe getting off, removing their brief, and then slowly progressing to being without clothes. So that's the phased approach.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very, very helpful answer for anybody who's listening. And that also brings us to the end of the segment and this episode. This is your reminder that you too can send us your questions anonymously on our website. The link is in the description below, and maybe we'll ask them in the next episode. So I would like to take this opportunity again to thank you for sharing your time with us. And it was so amazing having you and learning from you as well. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, it's been wonderful, and it clearly shows how much research you have done. And thank you for bringing all these questions out in the open. Thank you.
So that's the end of today's episode. This is me, Artika, and Dr. Sandip signing off. We'll see you again with another episode, another Sexpert. Until then, take care. Bye.